So have you ever seen the movie The Big Hit? It's a 90s movie starring Mark Wahlberg, Lou Diamond Phillips, and there's even a cameo by Antonio Sabato Jr. It's about these lovable hitmen who are just trying to make it in the world and save up money for their dream retirement. They're hitmen, but yet it's implied that they only kill bad guys. It's truly a 90s movie in every sense. So long story short, there's this point in the movie where they're making a ransom phone call. They need to make a call with their demands, but there's a fear that their phone line will be traced. So one of the characters brings out what's called a trace buster, which he pronounces as trace Busta. And the whole purpose of the machine is to bust someone's potential trace. But then it brings up the point, what if the person trying to trace you has a trace buster too? And so in the silliness of the moment, the character pulls out a trace Busta, which pretty much is self-explanatory. But at the end of the sequence, you find out that the bad guys have a trace Busta, which leads to our heroes being traced and potentially in harm's way. So why am I bringing up this obscure reference from a 90s movie? Because this is how my concept of Busta came about. It's this constant idea of friendly and absurd one-upsmanship, where you're always trying to outdo the other and supersede their efforts. Like in the scene with the trace Busta. So I started this whole Busta discussion when a WOTA friend of mine sent an idol a copy of the newly released Splatoon 2 for Nintendo Switch. I called him a Busta because of A, the ridiculousness of the situation, and also because of B, it kind of makes us other WOTA look bad. Because of, oh, whoa, look at him sending his idol a gift, why are you not sending your idol a gift? And it's all done in this friendly sense of competition among people I consider friends. So I'll tell you the story about the first example when I came across this. 2 or 3 years ago when I was first getting into Alice Project, a lot of times I would go with my buddy Francis, who was a big Kuroki Hinako Oshi. So if you're not familiar with Alice Project, especially at that time, how they did their photos was at the end of the show, all the members would line up and pick up an instant camera. So the fans would line up and you'd be somewhat matched up with a particular idol as your photographer. The line moves along, and when eventually you get up to the ticket lady, you tell her who you want to take a photo with. So he would always go up there and say, Hinako, of course. So obviously he would never get Hinako as his photographer, because she would always jump out of line to take a picture with him, and if by chance she was next in line to be a photographer, those duties would be passed on to the next member behind her. All pretty standard stuff. But here's where all the next level shit came about. I noticed that there would be times when Francis would let people behind him go in front of him. And I'd think to myself, what the heck is he doing? Why is he letting people go in front of him? Well, he had worked it out to where he knew which members were better photographers than others. Because some of them were really shit photographers and took really bad pictures, either because they were misaligned or out of focus. And in addition to that, he had also worked out which photographers were a little bit more lenient with talk time and wouldn't rush you to finish up your conversation. So effectively, he had learned to maximize every one of his idol interactions. It's super smart, and if you want to make the most of your trips to Japan, either because of time and money, that's the way to go about it, to pay that much attention. But then from a surface level viewpoint, when you look at what he's doing, the effort he's putting into it, you're kind of like, dude, what the fuck? Why are you taking it so seriously? This is all supposed to be just for fun. But then you're kind of like, man, I wish I would have thought of that. And then there's that little bit of envy. And then so you just want to say something and you're such a Busta. Francis, you are a Busta. You know that, son? Man, don't be a Busta. You're the one who brung out the trace Busta, so now I'm going to bring out the trace Busta. And then it became this thing where Francis and I were always trying to find that next level. Like, what's the better way to do this? How can we make it to all these shows? How can we possibly fit all these groups into one trip? So in the case of my Splatoon friend, it's awesome that he did that. I don't think I'm in a competition with him, but I definitely think there's that competitive nature. And it pushes me to want to do better and strive to be better. So to all my Bustas out there, thank you. So as a little bonus, I have another story about Francis and his Busta ways. So like I said earlier, Francis's favorite member was Kuroki Hinako. When we were at Alice Project, he would only take pictures with her. But that didn't mean there weren't other members that he liked. So did he just keep it in check and never talk to any other member? Hell no! What Francis used to do was that he would wait till Hinako's day off, and then he would go in and take all the pictures with all the members that he liked while she was absent. Or sometimes the other girls would be involved in satellite idol shows, so they wouldn't be at the normal theater. So then Francis could go and get pictures with these members away from the prying eyes of the Alice Project Theater. And he would specifically plan all of this in his head during a trip. He'd specifically say, hey, I gotta go to this show because that's my only chance to get a picture with so-and-so member without Hinako seeing. That's some next level idol shit right there. Truly, he was a Busta among Woda. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time.